Hey everyone, welcome back to 31 Days of Horror. It's night 13. What I got for you tonight's a review of a documentary that I just watched on Tubi. It's called what's it called? Stale Popcorn and Sticky Floors. Um, Basically, it's a documentary about the 70s and 80s like grindhouse like exploitation type films. What makes this interesting, though, is the fact of who they interview. Usually, when you get movies like this, they have the same people. They'll have like an interview with Roger Corman. They'll have an interview with like Larry Fessenden. They'll have an interview with like Lloyd Kaufman. Um, none of them are in this. Like I got it listed up here. You got Lynn Lowry. You got Brink Stevens. You got John A. Russo, which is kind of cool. Mel Novak, Frank M. Farrell, Craig Reed, like all these people that you wouldn't normally get interviews with, you know, and it's actually kind of enjoyable because of that. It's neat to hear about these movies from the point of view of people, obviously that worked on the films, but also weren't the weren't the big names in it. They weren't like the Roger Corman or whatever. Honestly, it's a really enjoyable documentary. Uh, like I said, you can see it on Tubi. I think you can see it other places as well. Oh, I have it up on my computer. Just seeing. Let's see. Google Play, YouTube. Um, yeah, there's a DVD of it. Um, all in all, though, it's a really interesting film. And what works also is they interview Craig Reed, and he's talking about Reanimator. You know, Normally a documentary like this, you would have had Stuart Gordon back in the day. Before he died, obviously, you would have had you know, the go-to people, but that they didn't do it. They got like all these other people. Now this could just have been a fact of they couldn't afford the big people. I don't know, but I mean, they cover Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and instead of you know Bill Moseley, from part two, obviously, or like talking to Gunnar Hansen or talking to someone like that, they talked to Jim Duggan, John Duggan. He played Grandpa. It's like he played Grandpa in like Cowboy Number One. So it's interesting to see other people's takes on you know movies and everything that we know and love, and we know all the ins and outs of. So it's neat to hear someone else's point of view. For a rating, what do I give this? I got to give this 5 out of 10. Maybe because they don't have like all those big stars, it definitely feels like a lesser documentary. But is that really fair to say? I don't know, because it was still a really enjoyable documentary. If you want a nice little like horror exploitation documentary over the spooky season, you can do worse than Stale Popcorn and Sticky Floors. Um, it's pretty good. Honestly, that's all I gotta say. It's pretty good, and that's all you can really ask for. So yeah, uh, that's it for me. See you next time.